All right, last month, concerns were raised over the intrusive and hostile nature of the Biden administration's questionnaire for evaluating requests for religious exemptions to vaccine mandates. The questionnaire had been provided as a template to federal agencies, but was also made available to private companies looking for a model for their own accommodation process. Well, not long after, a number of red flags were being raised as people looked at it. The administration then altered its questionnaire, but still concerns remain. Joining me now to talk about this is Andrea Lucas. She is a commissioner on the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Commissioner Lucas, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Tony. I'm so glad to be here.
So is the Biden administration with this questionnaire, it looks like what they're trying to do is determine whether or not someone's religious claims are legitimate. Are they not crossing a line with a kind of a de facto religious test themselves?
They definitely did cross a line, Tony. There's no question that as a default, we should not be presuming insincerity of someone's religious beliefs. The law is very clear that you need to have some objective basis to do a very limited inquiry. But here, there's no question that the original version of the template was assuming insincerity right from the start, and then subjecting people to some really intrusive information, including things that could get into theological debates and also probe medical information without any reason to doing that. And even though they've yanked back that template after scrutiny, it's not clear that whether or not agencies are updating the forms that they're using, nor is it clear how many private employers may have decided to use that inappropriate template as a model. Yeah, they definitely did cross a line there.
Andrea, when you look at religious freedom, historically as under RFRA, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and someone were to appeal for an exemption on something, usually it's the standard is if it's a genuine, sincere religious belief. But as you said, there were 7 questions in this original questionnaire that went very deep and almost started from a point of suspicion, trying to prove the individual wrong.
Yep. I suspect that there was a desire to limit the number of religious discrimination claims and to do that by assuming that people were not sincere, which is really just not the assumption. You should be talking about the practical ways about whether or not you can accommodate someone. You shouldn't be starting right off the bat with a bad faith assumption about your own employees. That's just the wrong. That's the wrong way to go after things, and it's really just depicting, in my mind, hostility to religious employees. And I know I'm also very concerned that it depicts a hostility to people who are pro-life, because as many of us are familiar, there's quite a bit of concern about fetal cell line involvement that is driving many of these religious accommodation requests. And we've seen the Biden administration is clearly hostile to pro-life individuals. So the fact that that kind of confluence is there too, I think this speaks to hostility towards religion and to people who have pro-life beliefs.
So as a commissioner on the EEOC, what would be your warning to private employers that may have taken this questionnaire, using it, looking to implement their own corporate vaccine policies, either voluntarily or in an attempt to comply with OSHA? What should these private employees be aware of in terms of potentially violating the religious freedoms of their employees?
I'd say stay away from that prior template and look instead to the EEOC's accommodation form, which we posted recently on our website, which is an unusual act, but in light of how many questions we're receiving, we posted it. That's a better model for a compliant religious accommodation form. I'd say that keep in mind that not only might you, if you screw up the religious accommodation process, not only might you incur accommodation-related claims, but you can also easily veer into religious harassment claims, religious discrimination claims, or religious retaliation claims. So there's a broad array of liability that can be associated with messing up this process.
So, Commissioner, then is the EEOC a possible outlet for those employees who feel like their religious freedom claims have been ignored, violated, or they're being harassed because they filed for a religious exemption?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we just updated our some of our technical assistance, which provides easy, frequently asked questions related to accommodations, retaliation, vaccine requirements. Just today, we were updated our retaliation section of that guidance, and we note that employees who complain about harassing comments that might be made about their religious objections to vaccines are, of course, protected from retaliation. So just a great recent update reminding employers and employees of the rights around anti-retaliation. You should absolutely file a charge if you feel like your rights have been violated.
Final question for you, Commissioner Lucas. Who would this apply to? Is this just in the private sector, federal employees? Who falls under the benefits of the work of the EEOC?
A wide array of employees. So federal employees should first file a internal complaint within their own agencies, but eventually they could end up before the EEOC's jurisdiction. Federal contractors, which are in the private sector but have a federal involvement, those employees can file directly with the EEOC for a charge. And then just pure private sector employees of just an ordinary company, they can also file directly with the EEOC. And we have a user-friendly portal that you can file your initial intake inquiry, and then you'll be helped through the process of filing a charge.
Very good. Commissioner Lucas, thank you for joining us today and for bringing attention to some of these troubling matters and also pointing people to a place where they might be able to get some help. Good to talk with you today.
Thanks so much.